What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Patrick, aka Addicted to Combat, back for another week of Best Bets and Props, where I go over all of my bets placed for this weekend's UFC card, which is UFC Fight Night Charlotte. We've got the heavyweight main event between Rozenstruik and Jailton Almeida. Should be a very violent affair between these two finishers. The striker in Rozenstruik, who's I think number 8 in the division. Big step up in competition for Jailton Almeida, who is currently unranked, I believe, but he's probably creeping in on being ranked at this point if he's not. He's been cutting through the lower end of the heavyweight division so far, going 4-0. I mean, the guy has got, 18 wins in his professional record. 17 of those have ended under 1.5 rounds, so should be a very violent affair as long as this lasts. And I've got 4 money lines, 3 money lines, and then one same-game parlay I'll talk about, but I've got 2 parlays as well. And I'll be selecting some props that I like on this card to throw into a round robin, as I usually do. So I'll talk about those props that I like at the very end. But hit the like, hit the subscribe. Make sure you check out my full card breakdown from Monday for all of the discussion about all of these fights, not just the ones I'm betting on. But then also my live stream I did last night with Dan Levy from Half the Battle. That was a very fun, very concise and informative live stream I had there. It was a lot of fun picking Dan's brain. It was his first time on my show, so that was fun. And I do have one other piece of business. I've got a new affiliate partner, which is the sportsbook Bet Online. So it's one that I do use personally. I know a lot of people do in the mixed martial arts community just because they have so many different leagues. They drop their props pretty early, and they've got pretty fair money lines as well. Some of the best money line prices on our sport. I'm not sure about other sports. I can't speak on that, but it's just a very user-friendly site and one of the better books. So glad to be an affiliate with them. So you can check out the description. It just got set up, so I've got the links that if you use the links below, it'll help out the channel directly if you sign up and make a deposit with that. And I think their welcome bonus for new customers is like 50% of your initial deposit. So I'll hammer down the details, maybe have a promo code for my channel in particular just for convenience. But for now, the link is in the description. So that's a new sportsbook partner for Addicted to Combat. So check them out. Happy to be with them since I do use that personally a lot of the time. So without further ado, we can break into the first money line of the night, which is Gabe Green. I've got taking the victory over Bryan Battle at welterweight. 2 units on Gabe Green at -125. And it's just a matter of a toughness deal, an experience deal. I think he's going to be the aggressor, as Bryan Battle likes to stay on his bike and, kind of backpedal. And he's a very busy striker, Bryan Battle, but so is Gabe Green. And I think Gabe Green hits harder, and being the aggressor, that's going to be better optics for the judges. He'll land the better punches. And he's been very high volume in his career so far and shown better grappling offensively as well. And we saw that's where Bryan Battle did struggle last time against Renat. And truly, at 170 pounds, Bryan Battle, I'm not too sold on him yet, right? He had the very quick victory making his debut at welterweight over Takashi Sato in August. And then he just got ragdolled around by Renat Fakhretdinov. So I'm not quite sure where Bryan Battle truly stands at this new weight class down at 170, whereas Gabe Green comfortably makes the weight, very stout and strong still. So give me Gabe Green here to get this one done. I think he wins by decision. I'd be surprised if either man finishes the other. Moving up next, I've got an underdog shot here on Douglas Silva de Andrade to defeat Cody Stamann. 1.5 units here at +135 on the underdog. And the only reason I have any red flags about picking the underdog here is just the age. The Brazilian power puncher de Andrade is 37 years old, going on 38 pretty soon. Cody Stamann, just a few years younger. I think he's, 33, 34. So still got some years, to go at bantamweight. But that's the only thing I have going against De Andrade. I think the technical striking goes in his favor. I think the power goes in his favor with 20 knockouts in his career. His cardio is solid, and I think he's just a better, well-rounded fighter here. Like, Cody Stamann's solid. He's got a good game plan to wrestle, a good wrestling background collegiately. But when the fights are, forced to stay standing, Cody Stamann really struggles. He really falls apart there. Just with his short reach, I think he has trouble getting in the pocket and then landing and getting back out. He doesn't stick and move very well without getting hit more in return. And, that's going to be a problem here because Douglas Silva de Andrade has a very good takedown defense rating and solid anti-wrestling. So I just based on that, I went into the tape study hoping to bet and pick Cody Stamann. I went out the other side after watching their fights and reviewing. especially the last fight Cody Stamann had, which was in January against, I think, a short notice debuting grappler in Brazil. He was a massive favorite, like minus 400 to minus 500 for Cody Stamann. And since the guy was a grappler, had very good BJJ, Stamann stayed on the feet and struck it out with his grappler, and it was very close. I mean, a lot of people think that Cody Stamann lost that decision. The judges gave him 2 rounds to 1 after he dropped round 3. So that was kind of the nail in the coffin. Once I was reminded of that performance, it was D. Silva all day. So like I said, 1.5 units on De Andrade at plus 135. And my most confident money line I think I have on this entire card is Alex Moreno to defeat Tim Means at 170. Once again, I have 2 units at minus 223. So just to win a little bit less than a unit here. Alex Moreno is the younger man. He's still got some, plenty more fights in him. He's very well-rounded. He's going to be the faster man, with the speed advantage. Very good timing on his combinations. I think better durability at this point than Tim Means and better cardio. So Tim Means, he's pretty long in the tooth for a professional. He's had a lot of fights. You see his durability start to leave him, and that's something he used to rely on. The Dirty Bird used to do very well in the clinch with the dirty boxing. And both of these guys are primarily grapplers by trade. Alex Moreno, the BJJ player, and Tim Means, the wrestler. But neither guy really likes to go to the ground that much. They would probably prefer to stand and bang. Moreno has had success over southpaw opponents before, and he's just very well versed in just keeping that nice, light on his feet, bouncing movement, and just being the faster man. I think he's going to have a speed advantage for days. And Tim Means, we saw him get dropped within like a minute of his last fight against Max Griffin. Club and subbed against Kevin Holland in round 2, the fight before that. So at 39 years old, I think Tim Means will get finished here. I think Moreno will put him away. The odds on that aren't great. The bookies are kind of privy to that. So just give me Moreno's money line. I think that's fair enough. But I could see him getting the job done inside the distance. So I feel good about this bet. The next money line, pseudo money line I have is on Ian Gary to defeat Daniel Rodriguez. Now, Gary, I missed the line on this. He's a huge favorite. I wasn't sure about this before. And the plus money is enticing on Daniel Rodriguez. We're looking at like a minus 300 to minus 315 favorite for Ian Gary at this point. But I saw, I got to shout out a user on Twitter. I think he's a subscriber to the channel, and also we follow each other on Twitter. Dravy MMA, at Dravy, so DRAHVY MMA. He put out a bet that he had posted, which was a same-game parlay of Ian Gary's money line and the over 1.5, and that got it down to, I think, minus 120 to minus 130. So I did the same thing. DraftKings had Ian Gary at minus 295 on the money line, the over 1.5 like minus 300. It shook out to minus 120 for Ian Gary to win and also for it to be over 1.5, because I think he does it, by decision most likely. Ian Gary can just be the better man, playing Matador against Daniel Rodriguez, avoiding his power and timing the counter strikes. I think Gary's got, once again, better speed. He's 11 years younger. He's, I think he's improving defensively as well, fight to fight. He really did impress me last time. He got cracked early against Song Kanan and bounced right back, showed good durability, and he can rack up a lot of strikes in a fight. He's not finish reliant, whereas in this fight, I think Daniel Rodriguez is probably finish reliant. So it could happen, but paying minus 120 instead of minus 300 or more, just to make it over 1.5. Rodriguez has never been finished by strikes. The first time he ever got finished was last time out against Neil Magny by Darce choke, and it was in round 3, and it was because Rodriguez got tired. So give me Ian Gary. I just think he's more on the up and up in his career, and Daniel Rodriguez is either plateauing or going down at his age. So I like that same game parlay quite a bit. So shout out to Dravy MMA for that one. Got to give him credit, since I'm sure other people are playing this, but that was the guy who I saw on Twitter that, really sparked my mind to say, this is a better way to play this. Maybe I will have action on Ian Gary. So 2 units there at minus 120. Moving right along to the juiced up parlays I have. And I'm getting kind of degenerate with this. I got Carlos Ulberg and Natan Levy in a parlay. This is the first bet I placed in this card. It shook out to minus 121 combined parlay odds. I put 2 units on that. And I missed the line on one of these fighters, but I got the line on the other. So I was looking for the rebooked Natan Levy and Pete Rodriguez fight, because I wanted to rebet that Natan Levy money line before it got crazy. So I bet it at minus 275 for Levy, and I saw Carlos Ulberg there over Ihor Peteria at minus 295, and I thought that was a pretty good deal. So I parlayed those together. The Levy price has gone down. You can get like minus 230 on Natan Levy on some books like BetOnline. Carlos Ulberg, that's gone all the way up to like minus 400. So I bet one price on a better line. I bet one at a worse line. So minus 121 on that combined parlay. 2 units on that. Ulberg should just be able to knock Ihor Potieria out all day at light heavyweight. I'm expecting around 1 KO, and I also like the under 1.5 in that spot. He's just so much better. More combat sports experience if you include his kickboxing career. Trains with a better team. He's just a better athlete all around with way better cardio. Natan Levy, it's kind of the same deal. He's more well-rounded than Pete Rodriguez, who we don't know much about. Like, we've seen Pete Rodriguez kind of have a brawling boxing style. His technique looks okay, but it's because we saw him against Mike Jackson in his last fight, which doesn't really count as a true performance. And before that, he was on short notice with very little experience compared to Jack Della Maddalena and took his first professional L there. So it's a big spectrum of people to be compared to. Mike Jackson and Jack Della, one of the worst guys to ever walk foot in the octagon and one of the best prospects going right now. So, but we haven't seen Pete Rodriguez do any sort of defensive grappling. We don't know if he can defend subs or takedowns, and we haven't seen if he's been able to operate at the pro level past 3 minutes. So give me Natan Levy to do better work at distance, be defensively sound, and work in that takedown offense he's known for. So I like that parlay. Feel pretty good about it. I'm more confident in Ulberg than I am Levy, but they're both pretty good picks. The next juiced up money line parlay I have is Carl Williams paired with Jailton Almeida in the main event. Minus 198 combined parlay odds. I put 2 units on that to, just basically win 1 unit. Carl Williams at heavyweight against Chase Sherman. Williams should have the wrestling advantage all day long. We saw the way that he manhandled Penn State wrestler on the Contender Series, Jimmy Lawson. We saw how he dominated Lucas Brzezinski in his last fight, took him down like 8 times in that fight and outstruck him, even knocked him down at one point. So I think Williams will have at least enough striking to hang safely with Chase Sherman before he just finds an opportunity to get the fight to the mat and probably end up winning a decision. Carl Williams is not all that dangerous. Which that is a red flag at heavyweight. He's a former light heavyweight, and without that kind of finishing power, I mean, you got to hang out with heavyweights for a lot longer than you need to. So that volatility could come in play. We've seen Sherman at least get 1 round 3 knockout against Vandera recently, but Williams should be able to put on a wrestling clinic here and get the job done. I got him at somewhere around like the high minus 400s here or something like that. Maybe minus 400, maybe slightly less. But like I said, this combined with Jailton Almeida shakes out to be minus 198 as a parlay. And I got Almeida all day over Rozenstruik, who's, again, a kickboxer, proven to be the weakness is in the grappling. His very first fight, I forgot who that was against. It was a long time ago, and he got taken down, I think the same way Jailton will. He got off the cage, he got double-legged. I'm going all the way back to Junior Albini is the one who took him down a couple of times. Also, Alistair Overeem was able to just have simple body lock trip takedowns to get him to the mat. He couldn't get back up. Curtis Blades did the same thing. So I think a grappler with the jiu-jitsu credentials of Almeida should just have his way with them. And Almeida is getting, fast takedowns. Like, it took him 12 seconds, I believe, to take down Shamil Abdurakhimov. Took him down like 15 seconds into round 2 as well. So, I mean, this should just be rinse and repeat takedowns. He might just get into mount and then, either get the ground and pound stoppage or sync up a choke. And I think it should be within 1 round. Like I said in the beginning of the video, man, like Jailton he's finishing guys at a massive clip and super fast. 17 of his 18 finishes have been under 1.5. So the only way that Almeida loses if he can't finish him on the ground somehow, gasses out, and then, we've seen that Rozenstruik has that power late. I think it's very unlikely. So give me Jailton Almeida, Carl Williams to put on wrestling performances here for that parlay at minus 198. 2 units on that. So that's all of my main betting action. The props that I like in this card, I like the under 1.5 for the Smith Walker, since most of their fights end in round 1. Walker has had 10 fights in the UFC. 8 of them have finished in round 1. Smith has been finished a lot, and he also, I think 33 out of his 35 wins are inside the distance. So one of these guys is going out in this fight. I suspect Walker gets the job done, and I do like the Walker in round 1 on Bovada. That's plus 275. That's not a bad price for the way he normally operates. The under 1.5 in the Ulberg Potieria fight at minus 135 I like. I like Cody Stamann and Douglas Silva de Andrade. Fight goes to decision at minus 170. Neither guy has been finished by strikes. I think you'll see 1 knockout loss in the record of Andrade, but that's because he got a corner stoppage from Peter Yan years ago. That's the only way, but he wasn't knocked out in that. Moreno inside the distance I mentioned I like. That's plus 190 to plus 200 depending on the book. Not the greatest of odds, but I think it's a likely outcome if you want to fade the durability of Tim Means. And Carl Williams to win by decision at plus 200. Like I mentioned, I'm confident he wins. He's got the game plan to do it, and he's not very dangerous. So Williams to win by decision at plus 200 would be the way I would look to play that. I think that's about it. If you want to get really fancy, Douglas Silva de Andrade, who I'm picking, I just took his money line, but to win by decision, plus 450 on BetOnline, or maybe DraftKings, one of those two books, it's up there, which I find odd since, like I said, neither of these two guys really gets finished all that often, if at all. So Douglas Silva, plus 450 to edge this one out at his age. Not bad odds. And the last one I like is Daniel Rodriguez to win inside the distance. Scorecards, no action is plus 180 on BetOnline. Kind of a safer way to play this because I don't see Ian Gary finishing Rodriguez, who's never been knocked out before, but I think Rodriguez is finish dependent. So to get plus 180 on that, not a bad way to go about it. So let me know in the comments what bets and props you guys like on this card. It should be a very fun, kind of underrated card at Charlotte on Saturday morning. So exciting fights, good matchups, only one debuting fighter, so a lot of familiar faces and ways to make money on this card. Again, hit the like, hit the subscribe, check out that BetOnline affiliate link if you guys want another sportsbook in your arsenal, and it'll directly help the channel out. So I'll be going live on Saturday morning at 10:30 a.m. Central Time for a live fight companion. I'll be having Johnny K. Pigs, Blood Money, MMA Bets, and I believe my guy Any Action Effie will be joining us as well. So if you want to watch the fights with us that morning, have some mimosas and cash some bets, I'll see you guys there. Cheers.